Hello, my name is Alex, and you are listening to the Staggered Stance podcast, where I give my staggered stance on anything and everything stand-up paddleboarding, as well as personal and lifestyle. Now today, I thought that it would be interesting to dive into my equipment, the equipment that I use, things that I use as a semi-professional competitive athlete in the world of stand-up paddleboarding. There's a lot of stuff that goes into what I actually use on a day-to-day basis, what I use at competitions, my equipment for filming social media content, because a big part of my paddleboarding is my social media content. So yeah, let's get right into it. First, we're going to talk about actually paddling. So the big, most important thing for paddleboarding, obviously, is your paddleboard. I use a 2023 SIC RS. It is 14 feet long and it is 21.5 inches wide. And I also just switched from like a 2018 model, which actually, fun fact, was the model that David Liao used in the PPG, which got him signed on to SIC. I like to talk about that. I think it's really cool. There's history to the boards that I use. Because I just switched, it is a different type of balance, so I am getting used to that. And obviously with different balance, you have to relearn how to do the turns and all that stuff. But I'm doing pretty good. When it comes to paddles, I use the Black Project HydroFlow X. And I use that in a small, but I am thinking about going up to a medium, just depending on the conditions or what I want it for. I found that Black Project paddles are really, really lightweight and easy to use. They are bendable too, so it gives you kind of like that tension as you are digging into the water. When it comes to fins, my go-to is the Black Project Sonic. I think it is the most versatile of all the fins that Black Project sells. It's big enough to where you can go straight, but it's small enough to where it's easier on turns. Every once in a while, I go to a Condor depending on the conditions or what I need it for. And I also go into the Malico sometimes, depending on whether I want it for downwind or not. Now going into the leash, I use an XM leash. It's either a 6 or 8 foot one. I don't know which one it is, but it's the one that's comfortable enough for a 14 footer, because you don't want it to be short on a 14 foot, because then you won't be able to move, you won't be able to go forward or anything. I used to use an FCS leash, I think that's what it's called, but it stretched. The first day that I used it, I fell off of a wave and my board continued with the wave and it completely stretched the leash. So we were like, no, let's check out a different brand, and we stuck with XM ever since. And depending on the board that I use, it has to be color coordinated. That's the little thing that I do. When I was using my SIC 12.6, it's blue, so I would use a blue leash with it. And then now that I am only using my 14 footer, I use a red leash. So it has to be color coordinated because I cannot handle anything else. It feels completely out of whack. When it comes to long distance paddleboarding, I use a Camelback to keep my water. When it comes to Camelbacks, you really have to find one that's really comfortable for you, because it goes around your shoulders and that's the thing that's constantly moving. So you have to make sure the straps are comfortable. I remember the very first Camelback that we got, it was for running, and we tried it with paddleboarding, and I ended up getting rashes all over my neck and like the inside of my shoulders. So I was like, no, we have to find a gooder one, we have to find a better one. And we ended up sticking to a 1.59 liter one. I could be wrong about that. It's not too big but not too small, and it specifically has mesh straps, so it bends with the movement of your shoulders. So if you're ever looking for a good Camelback, I really, really recommend looking for mesh straps, because it's also lightweight. You're not pulling the straps out of the way with your shoulders. You can just focus on moving your shoulders for your paddling. Also, to track my paddling, I used to use an Apple Watch and I would use Paddle Logger with it, but I eventually switched to a Garmin once my Apple Watch kind of decided it wasn't going to work anymore. And I just used the simple Garmin tracking that's on the app or that's on the watch. Super easy. If you're trying to track your paddling and you don't have an Apple Watch or a Garmin, paddle loggers also can be used on your phone. So you can put your phone on in a plastic bag or a protective case and put it on the front of your board, and you can use that to track your paddling. So I really, really recommend Paddle Logger. The free version works perfectly fine. I used the free free version, so you don't have to feel like you have to pay for that unless you really, really want to. When it comes to clothing, I really use whatever I can find, I guess, or whatever works for me. I have Nike, Adidas, I have random shirts, I got some shorts from Amazon, but the things that I look for is it being lightweight so that when water gets soaked into it, it doesn't feel heavy on you. And when it comes to sports bras specifically, I try to make sure it does not get in the way of my shoulders. I found that really, really tight sports bras, it limits the movement of my shoulders and makes me uncomfortable, and it also rubs. So I definitely want to make sure whenever I buy something, it's light around the shoulders. And for shorts, make sure it's lightweight. I recently got into Squalo clothing, which is a brand made here in Mexico, specifically Jalisco, and there I've been able to get good shorts, tops, and even long sleeve tops, which are UV safe. So if I want to go out when there's a really high UV index, I can just slap those long sleeves on and I don't have to worry about anything. When it comes to shorts, I have my go-to short, which is from Virus, which I am so sad they're on hiatus in North America. It is really, really disappointing. When it comes to anything, I have one pair of Virus pants that I will always go to, and nothing can ever replace it, honestly. I don't think I will ever find anything that will replace those shorts. Okay, let's go into supplements. So as an athlete, you are draining yourself of energy pretty much, and you also need to build muscle. You gotta stay in shape, you gotta stay active. So there's supplements that you take, obviously. When it comes to protein powder, my go-to is the whey protein vanilla flavored. Vanilla flavored is the best. And every once in a while when I find the vanilla ice cream or like the vanilla cake, oh my goodness, it is so incredibly good. I also enjoy a little bit of MCT oil to throw into my protein shakes whenever I throw in the whey protein as well. Specifically the Birdman MCT oil vanilla flavored one. The MCT oil is super, super good for you, healthy fats, and it makes the protein shake taste so incredibly good. I can't have a protein shake without the MCT oil anymore because it's just so delicious. I take creatine and beta-alanine daily. Creatine is for muscle growth, and then beta-alanine is for aerobic training, like resistance and endurance and all those things. It helps with your endurance. I also take a multivitamin because I am vegetarian, and as a vegetarian, specifically an athlete who is a vegetarian, I don't always get all of my vitamins that I need to sustain myself, so I can make up for places in my diet that I am lacking in, per se. Also, every once in a while, I like to throw in some spirulina into my protein shake. It's just good for you, it's healthy, and if it's an option between not doing it and doing it, I'd rather do it. When it comes to actual competitions, during the competition, specifically long distance competitions, when I have my camo bag, I always put in Gnarly packs. It's a brand called Gnarly, and they sell these packs, these flavored packs of Hydrate. It's called Hydrate. It essentially gives you extra hydration. So I always throw that into my camo bag, so I always have a little bit of oomph when it comes to the water that I am taking, and also it tastes good, so I feel more motivated and driven to drink the water, so I don't dehydrate myself while I'm racing. Okay, and lastly, let's get into my content making, what I'd use to make content. I am a social media freak. I love making things on social media. I love having a good social media presence. It's so fun. I use the Canon Rebel T7. It is a beginner camera. It's super simple to use. And we specifically use a long distance lens just because people who are taking photos with it, whether it be my mom, my dad, me, we have to be able to zoom in into the water because normally we're not really on the beach. We're normally in the water and we want to take photos while we're in the water. So if you ever see a nice photo of us while we're training or doing something, it is that camera. And then the other camera that I use is the one that I'm using right now. It is the Canon G7X Mark III. This was a graduation gift. It was a splurge for sure, but it is super, super useful because I can film really, really good videos. It's a vlog camera, so I can flip it up so I can see what I'm recording. I can literally look at myself right now. It's handheld, so you don't really have to worry about it taking much space, and it takes really, really good photos for a handheld camera. Next thing is we got a GoPro, and it's super, super cool. My brother and I split the price, so we barely had to pay anything pretty much, and it's so fun because I get to bring it into the water. Usually with my phone, with my cameras, it's hard to record stuff actually on the water or even take photos, so having a GoPro is really, really useful. We also got a kit where you have all these extensions, little things that you can use. I got a chest strap, so I filmed a little video of me catching waves in like a first person view, so that was fun. I plan to continue to use it for different types of things. It's so fun to use, it's so easy, it's so like you can just grab it in your hand, you can just tap record and you don't have to worry about focusing or anything. It'll do everything for you. It is amazing. And lastly is my podcast microphone. Now, I don't really know if anyone cares what my podcast microphone is, but if I look at it right now, it is the T-Core S5? I don't know. I just found it randomly on a YouTube video and it was like, oh, that seems like the best quality microphone for the best deal. So this is what I have chosen as my podcast microphone. So I think that is it. I love learning about what people use when it comes to paddleboarding and just staying fit. So I really hope that you enjoyed me talking about what I use. There's obviously places where I can improve on, whether that be supplements or clothing or whatever. But currently this is what I'm most comfortable with and what I have found helps me the most. So yeah, that is all. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.